Dzień dobry, moi drodzy, z tej strony Max. Pamiętacie może, co mówiłem w poprzednim odcinku? Odnośnie tego, że zajmiemy się na pewno teraz Dainsleafem, zrobimy jakieś takie inne questy z Yue. Tak naprawdę to nie. Wszystko to, co powiedziałem poprzednim razem, można równie dobrze wywalić do koszyka, gdyż mianowicie odblokował mi się teraz Teapot. Plus jeszcze tu centralnie jest zadanie z Nigłam i odbudowanie Jade Chamber, co tak się składa, stało się bardzo szybko, więc pewnie też się tym zajmę, ale aczkolwiek ja uważam, że tak się składa, że Madame Pink, Teapot i te wszystkie inne sprawy mogą mi bardzo wodzić, jeżeli chodzi o dalszą fabułę, więc poza Teapot jest mi trochę bardzo potrzebny, tak się składa. Myślałem, że to będzie krótki quest, ale później mi się przypomniało, że to jest przecież ta cała właśnie rozprawa z Yanfei.
Children, come. You've arrived at just the right moment. I've been looking for you.
Oh, what is it, Granny? Need any help?
Oh, no. You've done so much
No
for me in
wiadomo.
the harbor already. I could hardly ask for more. In fact, my old friends and I have been putting our heads together to think of what sort of gift we might give you in return.
A gift? For Paimon?
I only did as I should, you're the kind.
Oh, child, you are so very modest. Uncommonly so, even. But you mustn't decline this gift. I simply won't allow it. When you traversed my old teapot in search of the cleansing bell, I heard your little friend mention that you often camp out in the wilds.
A to prawda.
That simply won't do. Especially since I imagine you still have a very long journey ahead of you.
Dosłownie.
Fortunately, I have not yet grown so old as to see my subspace creation abilities atrophy.
What subspace creation?
Oh, did my friends never mention that to you? Well then, it is a blessing we old folks once received from Rex Lapis, part of our illumination, if you will.
Damn.
I will not go into too much detail, but subspace creation is the ability to create a small, autonomous pocket world. The teapot that you entered previously was a little trinket created using that
Trochę
ability.
niebezpieczne, szczerze powiedziawszy. A trinket, you say?
So, in the eyes of an adeptus, creating a magic teapot world is just child's play, huh?
Ja myślę, że dla adeptusów większość takich rzeczy to jest po prostu dzieci nieproste.
Indeed, the teapot is nothing to boast of. One such as myself must depart from this realm to create a world of one's own. Rex Lapis, on the other hand, moved mountains and
Chłop jest
seas.
potężny.
That is what one might call an exercise of true power. But that's enough nostalgia for now. The gift that I have prepared for you just requires a few final materials to add the finishing touch.
I can help you look for them.
That's right. Finding stuff's what we're good at, after
Dokładnie.
Oh, settle down now, children. There's no need for you to go running hither and thither. I have already found a fleet-footed youngster to prepare what I
Ja już wiem,
need.
kto to jest.
What's more, I doubt that you would know how to find the materials I am searching for. Some of them are very rare indeed these days.
And what are those, if I may ask?
Well, for starters, I require some shimmer soil from the banks of Dihua Marsh. Back in the day, it could only be found where the glazed lilies thrived most profusely. You would have to dig downward, following the roots of the glazed lilies, and if you were lucky enough, you just might find a small patch of shimmer soil there. But almost no one has been able to find shimmer soil in this manner since Dihua Marsh came to be.
Nie pamiętam, co to jest za miejsce kompletnie. Jezu, ja nie mam kompletnie pamięci do jakichś rzeczy na mapie.
Which must be chiseled from the rock of the chasm.
Idziemy do Kazmu?
Or so it used to be. Ever since the Blackcliff Forge opened for business, they've slowly but surely stripped the mines all but completely bare of it. In any case, Smaragdus Jadeite is an Adepti treasure, and the adeptal power within is not something that most humans can withstand. Extended contact with it is in fact harmful to humans.
Czyli chyba nie pomożemy jednak.
That child will succeed in finding these items.
Who's this child?
Well, since you're an Adeptus, Granny, the person you asked for help, they must be an Adeptus too, right?
Jak najbardziej.
Yes. I suppose she does count as an Adeptus.
She counts? How come there are so many Adepti in Liyue Harbor? We seem to bump into them all the
Oj, tam od razu.
It feels like even when you go out to eat, you could be sitting next to an Adeptus and never even know it.
Oh, maybe so. Who can say? A fair few of my old friends are rather fond of mundane mortal life, after all.
I'm back, Granny.
Yanfei!
Oh, I don't believe we've met.
Ah, allow me to do the honors. This child here is Yanfei. She's the one helping run some errands for me. Yanfei, I believe you already heard of
Jej
the
rogi są
traveler,
takie
his
ładne,
traveling
naprawdę.
companion.
Of course, who hasn't? Much has been written about you in the Millilith
W sumie
records.
Yanfei to jest taka córka koleżanki twojej starej w sumie.
You became one of Liyue's most wanted after the Millilith marked you as a suspect following the incident at the Rite of Dissension. After which, you fought off the Millilith at Julian Karst and made contact with the Fatui.
No cóż.
Before finally defeating an ancient god together with Granny and her associates, and subsequently being cleared of any and all suspicion by the Chiseng. What a shame.
A shame?
A shame that we didn't meet sooner.
Już myślałam, że chcę mnie wpakować do więzienia. Ona ma takie strasznie przyćpane oczy, albo ja mogę mieć takie wrażenie. Takie puste w ogóle, Kokomi też ma takie puste oczy.
If we had, well, I can't say that I would have been able to clear you of suspicion immediately, but it certainly would have been less, embarrassing for you. Allow me to introduce myself once more. I'm Yanfei, a legal advisor. Got a legal problem? You can come right to
No
me.
mówię, to jest dosłownie córka koleżanki twojej starej.
Oh, yes. Here's my business card. You'll find it has my contact details.
Uwielbiam
and
takie
office
małe
address.
detale, jak na przykład
Keep it
takie
handy.
łuski na jej ciele, czy właśnie
If you
dłoni.
have an urgent issue, just leave me a note at this address. Oh, and I almost forgot to mention, I offer a very generous discount for first-time customers.
All right, Yanfei, all right. Let's get to the business at hand. I do not think these two are in any dire need of legal assistance at the moment. You'll have to excuse Yanfei. She's always been like this. Ever the talkative one when it comes to her own affairs.
Are you really an adeptus?
Paimon was gonna ask the same question. You seem really different from the ones we've met before.
An Adeptus? I guess. Kinda. My old man said he was one anyway.
No
He
patrz.
mentioned that he once campaigned with Rex Lapis for a long old time, and then after that was all over, he went back and married my mom. They had
Urocze.
me, and once I was all grown up, the two of them upped and left on a journey, leaving me with Granny here.
Okej.
Well, that's a bit casual for an Adeptus. Aren't you guys supposed to sign solemn
Jak ona się
contracts
denerwuje,
to
nie
protect Liyue
mogę.
Harbor and all that stuff? What do you mean he just whipped back to get married?
Co no wziął i wyszedł, nie?
Well, my dad did say that he'd talked it through with Rex Lapis, and that he was fine with it. Even contributed towards the wedding gift, apparently. Anyway, let's not dwell on that too much. So, Granny, I've gotten a hold of most of the stuff you asked for, except for Smaragdus Jadeite. I couldn't find any at all.
Is that so? But Smaragdus Jadeite is really rather essential. Yanfei, are you sure you can't find some other way? They have helped Liyue greatly, after all. It is only right that they are duly rewarded.
I know, Granny, you've told me 1,000 times already. Well, the chasm's definitely a no-go, but there's still a chance we can figure out some alternative means of procurement.
To znaczy kupimy to
Hold
gdzieś?
on a moment. Let me have a look.
Whoa, that's a really thick book. What kind of things do you write in there?
Commercial consultancy. Or Snezhnaya. Ah, found him. Krusel. A Snezhnayan merchant who once came to me with some
Czy ja z nim nie miałem
queries on
jakiegoś
certain
zadania?
articles in the legal codices.
Nie wiem w sumie.
If my memory serves, all of them had to do with rare ores. He mentioned that he was considering acquiring some Smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins, and wanted to know if there were any legal ramifications that he should be aware of. Said he was planning to sell them in Snezhnaya. So, I guess I'll go look for him. With any luck, he'll have gotten his hands on some Smaragdus jadeite, or might have an idea of where we can find some.
We will come with you.
Oh, you want to join me?
Jak
I
najbardziej.
suppose that's no problem, but it's best if you just stand by and watch. If you try to get involved, you'll only risk placing yourself in legal jeopardy.
Wow, an Adeptus imploring us to avoid incurring legal liability. Well, that's a first for sure. Best we be a little more careful than usual while we're with her.
Dosłownie, jeszcze nas za coś wsadzi do więzienia, kto wie. Wydaje mi się, że Teapot to jest chyba strasznie długi quest. W sensie, nie może aż tak długi, ale z 1,5 godziny to on ma na pewno. Tak przecież sądzę, bo mi się wydaje, że kiedyś na pewno nagrywałem tego Teapota. Jezu, jak w ogóle oni dawno to dodali, nie wiem, w 2021?
Hello, Mr. Crossell. How's business been?
Oh, good, very good. All thanks to your advice, Miss Yanfei. What brings you here today?
You're too kind. I was simply doing my job. Now, I believe that the last time we met, you mentioned that you were looking to source some Smaragdus jadeite to make hairpins. Have there been any further developments on this front?
Well,
Nie zdziwię się, jak on
as a
będzie
matter
jakiś
of
potem
fact, in the
podejrzany.
end, I did acquire a small piece of Smaragdus jadeite and had it fashioned into a pair of hairpins. Miss Yanfei, might I presume that you have an interest in the hairpins? I must apologize. I've already rented them out to a lady named Zhiqiao. If you'd like to inspect them, you may have to wait quite some time.
Wait, isn't Smaragdus jadeite really rare? Aren't you worried about the hairpins getting damaged or lost while they're being rented out?
No, I'm not worried in the slightest, because I signed a contract with Miss Zhiqiao before renting them to her.
Ach tak, oczywiście, kontrakty i
The
kontrakty.
contract makes it quite clear that if she loses or damages the item in question, she
To
must
musi być cholernie
compensate me
drogie,
for
szczerze
full original
powiedziawszy.
value. In return, I included a clause that guarantees the Smaragdus jadeite is genuine, with a penalty of 10 times the item's value payable by me to Miss Zhiqiao in the event that it is shown to be a fake.
No ambiguities there, Boże.
Guaranteed genuine, with 10 times the value payable if this claim is shown to be false. Yes, these terms are very clear indeed.
Of course. This way, both the client and I have the assurance we need. To ensure fairness, each of us has retained an original copy of the contract.
In that case, might you know where Miss Zhiqiao lives? We'd like to pay her a visit and have a look at the hairpins.
Oh, of course. She wrote her address down when we signed our contract. Here, I'll mark it on your map for you.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Crossell.
Naprawdę, mam strasznie przyćpane oczy. Tu jesteś, już myślałem, że się zgubię zaraz.
Oh, whatever shall I do?
Excuse me, are you... Pozwolę sobie pominąć jej imię?
Yes, that's me. Is there something I can help you with?
How do you do, Miss Zhiqiao? We understand from Mr. Crossell that you recently rented a pair of hairpins from him. My associates and I are very interested in them. Would you mind letting us take a look at them?
The hairpins. I can't lend them to you right now.
Oczywiście.
I've lost them. I don't know how it could have happened. I always kept them right by my side, and I hadn't even worn them yet. I spent so much money on them. If I have to pay their original value, there's no way I could come up with that amount of money on such short notice.
Why did you need them in the first place? A co się nie interesuje się, tak długo ci moczki dostaniesz?
My family is in the ore business too, but business has been suffering ever since the chasm was sealed off. We now have a backlog of paid-up orders just sitting around, so we've been having to purchase some stock from other ore merchants to complete them. A big banquet is coming up in a few days, and several ore merchants I know of will be there. I need this opportunity to mingle and discuss prices. That's what the hairpins were for, to keep up appearances. I can't have them looking down on me.
Coś ci chyba nie
Now that
wyszło.
I've lost the hairpins. What will I do?
Why does Paimon have a sudden strong sense of deja vu?
Maybe because this is the part where we say we can help?
Would you really? I sent a commission to the Adventurers Guild, but I haven't heard anything back from them yet.
Hold on. Don't run off looking for the hairpins just yet. Miss Zhiqiao, would you let me have a look at the rental contract you signed?
Huh? Well, I mean, sure, I have it right here. Here you are.
Let me see.
That's right! Yanfei said she's a legal advisor, didn't she?
Ona szuka jakiegoś
Maybe she
kruczka w
can help
tekście.
Chiao somehow.
That would be a little unfair to Crossu.
True.
Hmm.
Though surely there must be a win-win solution.
Znając życie, patrząc jak Genshin z początku traktuje Wpatuje w takie, wiadomo, największe zło i wszystko to jest takie czarno-białe, wiadomo, że Wpatuje to są ci źli, walczymy z tymi złymi i tak dalej, etc. To nie zdziwię się, że ten Cross faktycznie będzie gdzieś jakoś w tym maczał palce.
And given the rarity of Smaragdus jadeite, I fear that the final amount of compensation may end up being significantly higher as a result.
Even higher. Oh, no.
Uh-oh. Chiao looks like she's about to faint.
No cóż.
However, all of this is assuming that it is indeed genuine Smaragdus jadeite that was inlaid into the hairpins.
Did you really have to pause before saying that part? Anyway, the hairpins are lost, so how exactly would we be able to find out if the jadeite is genuine or not? Whichever way you look at it, we've got to start by finding those hairpins.
Except that if we found the hairpins, there'd no longer be any need to check whether the jadeite is genuine, would there?
Może?
Seems right.
Please. Please, Don't trouble yourselves over this. The fact is, I lost the item and I should pay compensation per the contract.
It's such a huge sum of money, though.
However much it is, I will have to pay it. My family are merchants, after all. It's vital that we keep our word and respect our contracts.
No,
Now that
rozumiem.
it's come to this, I really shouldn't keep Crossel in the dark any longer. I'll go and inform him of the issue and then negotiate the amount of compensation.
Yes, legally speaking, it seems this is the most sensible course of action. But before that, I have some questions about the hairpins.
Oh.
So hold on a moment, Mr. Chow. When you first touched the hairpins, what did you feel?
What did I feel? Well, I remember that the gemstones set into the pins were perfectly smooth to the touch, like the finest quality jade.
Niech zgadnę, to będą jakieś fejki, nie?
My family has seen much jade pass through its hands in the past, so I am quite certain of my judgment in this matter.
Smooth to the touch. Finest quality jade.
Is something the matter?
No, it's nothing. I just need to re-examine a few things. Let's head over to Mr. Crossel's.
Ej, mam rozumieć, że to będziemy tak łazić w tą i z powrotem. No dobrze, rozumiem.
Ah, Miss Yanfei, you've returned. With Miss Jiqiao in tow, too, I see. How are the hairpins? I trust you're quite satisfied with them?
About that.
No właśnie. Realizes the loss of the hairpins to Crossel.
You lost them? Are you serious? Do you have any idea how expensive they were?
I'm sorry. Truly I am. I'll pay the compensation as per our contract. Every last mora.
Mora? Do you have any idea what I had to go through to get my hands on that Smaragdus jadeite? I just don't... Forget it. Talking won't bring them back. Since Miss Yanfei is here, I suppose we can just have her estimate the amount that needs to be paid.
Dokładnie.
No problem. But before I can give an official estimate, I'll need to do a little market research. Ah, yes, and if I may just confirm again, it was in fact genuine Smaragdus jadeite inlaid into the hairpins, correct?
Of course. Genuine article guaranteed, or I pay back 10 times the value.
All right, understood. I'll conduct some market research, and once I'm back, I'll provide an official assessment of the sum owed by Mr. Chow in compensation.
A jeszcze w biznes będziemy się
Please
tu
wait here,
bawić, no
Mr.
tak.
Crossel.
Zawsze miałem łeb do interesów.
How could she lose my hairpins? She'd better pay every last mora that they're worth.
Mój Boże.
Looks like I'll have to find some way to raise that money.
Please wait, Mr. Chow. I have something to discuss with you. It's not convenient to speak here, so let's find somewhere that we can sit and talk in more detail.
Z dala od fatujców niech zgadnę. Strasznie daleko poleźliśmy, szczerze powiedziawszy.
Miss Yanfei, what is this about? Are you here to tell me how much I owe?
Może?
No. What I wanted to talk about is, there is a chance that the ore inlaid on those hairpins may not be Smaragdus jadeite after all.
Oh, not Smaragdus jadeite? Really?
What do you mean? sneaked off and found them?
Obviously not. I'm no adventurer, let alone a member of the guild. I don't run thankless, time-consuming errands for a living. Let's just say I made some deductions.
O,
I don't know if Granny told you this, but Smaragdus jadeite is found deep underground and contains very concentrated elemental energy. If mere mortals come into contact with it, well, they'll be sick in the best case. And in the worst case, they could even experience a dramatic change of personality. It most certainly would not be smooth to the touch.
kurczę.
Mr. Chow, did you at any time feel unwell while the hairpins were in your possession?
No, not at all. I felt
Mówiłem, że to na pewno
perfectly
będzie
fine the whole
podróbka.
time. Not even the slightest bit unwell. I didn't feel anything special at all, in fact.
Now that is strange. I noticed earlier that there were elemental traces in Mr. Croswell's vicinity. If I've deduced correctly, he may still have the Smaragdus jadeite in his possession.
If that's the case, we should go confront him right now and expose his dirty scam right to his face!
A nie mówiłem?
Absolutely not. If we were to confront him now, there's no way he would admit to it. Eventually, he would find some argument to compel us to leave.
Janfej to jest smort.
Then, he'd throw the Smaragdus jadeite into the sea the moment we were gone.
Taki coś
After that,
marnować.
he would simply insist that Mr. Chow pay up per the contract. He would lose nothing. Meanwhile,
Bany.
we would have to look under every stone in Liyue, hoping and praying that the hairpins do actually still exist somewhere in this world.
A very vivid description.
So vivid that Paimon thinks it might be experience talking.
Oh, it certainly is. I've seen my fair share of situations like this, and brute force methods are certainly one way of resolving them. Fortunately, I have far more elegant solutions at my disposal. I'll share them with you in due course.
Hej.
Well then, since you're so experienced in dealing with problems like this, perhaps you could help me, Miss Yunfei.
Oh, that won't be a problem. But first, Mr. Chow, could I ask you to please sign this contract?
Huh?
O, matko bosko.
Does there have to be a contract for everything? Paimon can't even keep track.
If I had one more for every time I heard the word contract.
Feels like
Dosłownie.
Yunfei is even more concerned with them than a certain someone else we know.
These are my formal terms of engagement. Everything prior to now has just been pro bono advice. But for me to investigate any further, I require a written contract. Any work commissioned but not bound by a contract.
O Jezu,
cannot
kocham
be
tą
relied
muzykę z
upon.
Liyue. Ma taki świetny
I
vibe.
understand. Then I will be glad to place this matter into your capable hands if you will take it, Miss Yunfei.
No problem. Just sign here, and I'll sign too. Okay. Now write your address here, and then sign on this page as well.
Same Paimon.
And I'll also need your signatures on pages 5, 7, and on the very last page. Finally, if you could just use this ink pad to make a handprint over here.
This contract
Dosłownie wyglądają
pages.
każde sprawy, jak trzeba załatwić w urzędzie.
Brain juice again.
Such an ordeal.
Alright, that should do it. My fees are the same as always, and they're written in the contract. Have a look through and let me know if you have any questions.
I've had a read through. Everything checks out.
That was fast.
Well then, here's your copy of the contract. I will retain the other copy.
Dobra, need me to do anything?
Not for now, no. Despite how
My to jesteśmy chyba po prostu tylko dla
attractive
ozdoby
might
sobie
sound,
siedzimy.
it will actually be quite straightforward to resolve once we've got some things squared away. I don't believe you have been part of an investigation like this before, in which case, hopefully this should be
Janfej by
quite
się
the
bardzo odnalazła w
experience.
Fontaine, teraz tak sobie
Miss
myślę.
Yunfei, I have to ask, why are you helping me?
Because, as it happens, I'm currently trying to acquire some Smaragdus jadeite myself. I noticed strong traces
Szczerze,
of
tej pytanie tej
geometry
baby
around
było
Mr.
trochę takie
Croswell,
głupie. Nie wiem, masz
so
prawnika i
perhaps
pytasz się
he
prawnika,
has
a dlaczego ty w
access
tej
here
kwestii
too.
pomagasz?
Whether he actually made it into an item of jewelry or not is a separate matter. But either way, it's a lead. As long as we follow it, who knows? We might just be able to get our hands on some Smaragdus jadeite. Also, the idea of someone abusing the law to their advantage, I won't stand for it. But again, let's not dwell on this. Let's go to... where can we find someone who processes ore? Ha! I've got it! Let's pay a visit to Chateau, the boss of the Jade Mystery. He's a professional when it comes to working with stone and ore.
Dobra.
If Mr. Crossell had his ore worked on at all, Chateau would undoubtedly have been his first choice.
Why, hello there, honored customers. Welcome to... Oh, it's you, Miss Yenfei. Is something the matter? Surely not more spurious claims that my jade betting is rigged and no one can ever win? Oh, I swear on all that is sacred.
No, nothing of the sort. Has a Snezhnaya merchant named Crossel enlisted your ore processing services recently by any chance?
A Snezhnayan merchant named Crossel,
No.
you say? I do remember that. He brought me a piece of ore, claiming that it was Smaragdus jadeite. That was the first time I'd ever encountered it, so I had no way of telling if it was really Smaragdus jadeite or not. But if a customer insists, far be it from me to contradict them. He was quite generous with his money, too,
Jasne,
so I
jasne.
didn't give it too much thought. I processed the ore as per his request.
Do you have any leftover debris from your work on it?
Why, yes. It was my first time encountering this ore, after all, so
Ale
I kept
zielone.
a few loose shavings to study myself later. They're right over there, in fact.
Thank you, sir. We'll take a look at them.
Dobrze, przebadajmy kamienie zatem. Ładne, są takie zielone.
If my eyes don't deceive me, the cross sections and patterning suggest that these are Smaragdus nephrite shavings.
Smaragdus nefryt?
Yes, it's not particularly rare, nor is it especially valuable. It's used to make jewelry all the time.
No mówiłem, że z
Reddit
kamer.
said that Smaragdus nephrite is in fact the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite, though no one's ever proven it.
A thin layer of separation, huh?
If you must see for yourself, try examining these shavings for traces of elemental energy. Smaragdus nephrite is an entirely ordinary ore, containing no elemental energy whatsoever.
Dobra.
So, well, we might as well give elemental sight a shot. So, did you find anything?
No, trace of elemental energy.
So they really are different. But wait, how come Jichao was able to tell what it was just by looking at the shards?
Co tam się dzieje w tle?
Pretty awesome.
Co to jest? Ja nie widzę. Mój Boże.
There's nothing special to it. It just so happens that I've come across a great many of these in my time.
Why couldn't Shito tell them
These
apart?
two stones actually look very similar.
No.
Someone without a deep understanding of them would find it very difficult to tell them apart. There may be only a subtle difference.
Chłop sprzedaje kamienie, a nie zna się na rozpoznawaniu tych zielonych.
In terms of the market price. And I'm sure a significant difference in the cost of having them carved into shape.
All right, let's focus up. We're going off on a tangent.
But never mind, Shirto. Why would Mr. Crossel...
Unusual actions have unusual reasons behind them. Let's
No
take
mówię,
some
że
of
to jest
these shavings
jakiś
back to Chateau.
sus biznes z Fatui.
Miss Yenfei? Might I be so bold as to inquire,
If you could just confirm for me once more, sir, Mr. Crossel did indeed claim that the ore he brought to your store was in fact Smaragdus jadeite, did he not?
Yes, that's right.
Zaraz się okaże, że
I
on
still
też
have a
siedzi w
record
jakimś
of the job
spisku.
with me, in fact. Here, it says quite clearly, one chunk Smaragdus jadeite, uncut.
Then I have no further questions. But could I borrow the processing record and these stone shavings?
Of course. But might I ask why?
Coś jest takiego w jego głosie, że mnie niesamowicie
I
denerwuje.
have my reasons. Yes. Please sign here on this
Już w sumie podobnie mam z głosem... O Jezu, jak ona się nazywała teraz? Jinguyu? Ze Honkaja Star Raila. Chyba o tym wcześniej mówiłam, ale po prostu jej takie
I see.
branie oddechów, które to wszystko słychać, to mnie doprowadza po prostu do jakiejś szewskiej pasji.
But might I know the nature of the incident on this occasion?
I wouldn't say there's been an incident, just a minor issue. Thank you, sir. I'll take these with me.
With this hard evidence to back us up, Crossel won't dare try to deny what he did.
On the contrary, this is far from sufficient to build a case. We need to find something a little more compelling. If you want to make jewelry, you need a professional jewelsmith. Let me think.
A to dźwięk wydało, Jezu.
Jewelry. Nope. Aha! Got it.
Peter i jego po prostu ta sama mina.
People to find a jewelsmith. Let's go pay her a visit.
Well, that was quick. How can you know so many people?
Ona jest dosłownie
Because lots
prawnikiem.
of people come to me for legal advice every day. As you know, Liyue Harbor is the city of contracts.
W sensie
And
baba też bardzo
contracts,
ładną muzykę.
well, I should say laws, are very important to us. But the amendments made by the Tianquan to our laws are unnecessarily complicated. How can I put this? It just seems like they're hard to understand and impossible to finish. As such, legal advisors like myself provide quite the popular service indeed.
So you help them make sense of the law. But didn't you say that it's hard to understand and impossible to...
Yes, well, that's no obstacle because I've memorized all the legal codices.
O,
You memorized them?
damn.
You sound surprised. Knowing the law inside out is a legal advisor's bread and butter, you know?
Is this how Adeptus becomes so adept at
Oh,
everything?
this has nothing to do with being an adeptus. I just like reading things.
No widzisz.
Again with that casual tone.
Well, that's that then. Let's go look for Xingxi.
Oh, Miss Yenfei, it's you. Has something happened? Did the client from last time...
Have no further trouble from then on? Yes, of course. I'm just here to ask you a few questions. Has a merchant by the name of Crossel asked you to put him in contact with a jewelsmith recently?
Krosel? Yes, I remember him. He's a merchant from Snezhnaya, no? Yes, the design...
O Jezu, ja muszę przestać skipować, bo ja się po prostu zapatrzę na coś i przez przypadek
So it
kliknę.
took me some work to find someone who was up to the job. Eventually, I found an older jewelsmith who made them exactly according to his specifications. This order was on hold for a very long time, and only completed quite recently, which is why I remember it so well.
Doesn't
No.
seem like there's any evidence to be found here.
Miss Xingxi, I'd like for you to confirm for me once more. When Mr. Crossel commissioned you to find him a jewelsmith, did he or did he not assert that the material he presented to you that day was called Smaragdus Jadeite?
Yes, I'm sure of it. The hairpins were made using many expensive materials, and the asking price was quite high, so we had to put this transaction on record with the Ministry of Civil
Kurczę.
Affairs.
To jest poważniejsza akcja w
Wasn't
sumie.
very familiar with the necessary procedures, so I filed it on his behalf. I also
Zaraz się
took a
okaże, że
copy
tu
for
gdzieś
my
będzie
own
jakiś
records.
urząd skarbowy.
See for yourself. The item is called Smaragdus Jadeite Twin Phoenix Pins. The inlaid gemstone is recorded as Smaragdus Jadeite. The document even has the official seal of the ministry on it.
Czy tu każdy
Thank
został
you, Xingxi.
bamboozled?
Now, could you let me borrow this document?
Sure, it isn't serving much purpose here anyway. I take it then that there's been some more trouble?
Nothing you need to worry about.
Ona
Just
nie
a
wygląda
minor
prawie
issue.
identycznie
I'll
jak tamta
return your document as soon
babka,
as I'm
której
done with it.
pomagamy.
Thanks again.
Why is everyone's first reaction always to assume someone or something is in trouble?
Bo tak jest ewidentnie, kurczę, no bo jak przychodzą takie rzeczy prawnicze, powiedzmy, to zawsze to zwiastuje kłopoty. Must be nature of legal consultancy.
I believe we have almost all the evidence we need.
Bajżu!
We just need to make one last trip. Let's go to Bubu Pharmacy to speak with Dr. Baiju.
Kompletnie nie pamiętam, że on był w tym questie, kurde.
What do you
Weirdo.
want to speak to him for?
Because only he can provide an authoritative statement confirming that Smaragdus Jadeite is harmful to the human body.
W sumie
Once we
logiczne,
have
on
this
jest
vital
lekarzem
piece of
after all.
evidence in our hands, we can wrap this case up.
My, to what do I owe the pleasure? Though I'm afraid that if you're looking for our little Chi-Chi, she's out gathering herbs. And if it isn't Miss Yenfei as
Nie
well,
potrzebujemy czyć,
not
ja się
even
za dużo jej
rare
naoglądam na przygranych banerach, ja mam dość.
Here, might I inquire? Some charlatans peddling ineffectual medicines again, no doubt?
No. I'm here this time to ask if you're familiar with Smaragdus Jadeite.
Smaragdus Jadeite? Why, yes, there is some information about it included in the 6th commentary on the Seven Mountain Treatises.
Damn.
The Seven Mountain Treatises states that this substance springs forth from stone marrow within the
Już chyba
mountains
wiemy, nie?
and will bring disaster to any mere mortals who touch it. It is abundant in elemental energy, so if someone without a vision is in contact with it for a prolonged period, best case scenario, they fall ill. Worst case scenario, they'll suffer great changes in personality and their illness will only ever get worse.
Ciekawa sprawa w sumie.
Anyway, I'm sure you didn't come all this way just to
A
chit-chat.
dokładnie.
Knowing you, Yenfei, and given the specific nature of your question, I suppose that you're about to ask me to write an official affidavit attesting to the pharmaceutical peculiarities of Smaragdus Jadeite?
That is indeed the case. If you would be so kind, Dr. Baiju.
No trouble at all. It's just a single document. Won't take me a
Uwielbiam jak po
moment.
prostu Chang po
I
prostu
would
sobie siedzi
mention,
zwinięta
though, that
wokół
you are
jego
not the
szyi i
only one who's
wajbuje.
developed a curiosity for Smaragdus jadeite recently. A Nieznajomość merchant
O!
came to ask me about it.
Gdzie znowu
not
ten
long
cross?
ago.
Niech zgadnę.
But after I gave him my reply, his expression shifted to one of remarkable
To
disappointment.
jest bardzo podejrzane.
I wonder, Miss Yenfei, if your
Ale się
pressing
rozpadało na dworzu
business
Jezu. Ja mam
might
nadzieję, że
be
nie słychać, jak
related to
deszcz
this
mi wali o parapet.
Nieznajomość merchant?
You needn't concern yourself about that, Dr. Baiju. Thank you for penning us that document. I'll make sure to compensate you in due course.
You're too kind. Take care now.
Adios w takim razie.
That Baiju guy is as weird as ever.
Oj, tam od razu weird.
Is it just Paimon, or does it feel like he was fishing for something back there?
Może?
Dr. Baiju's
Oh.
always been like that.
Skrzynka.
Well, we have the evidence we need. Let's go find Mr. Crossell.
Ja mam wrażenie, że w Liwe jest strasznie dużo tych... O Jezu, ekskluzji. Nie, czy chyba nie było ekskluzji? Albo może było. No te skrzynie, nie te żółte, tylko te trochę większe niż common, ale nie pamiętam, jak one się teraz nazywają. Ja naprawdę mam wrażenie, że co tu robię, jakieś puzzle, czy po prostu coś otwieram, to
Miss
wyskakuje mi
Yanfei,
te
have you
skrzynie.
finished your investigation? I trust you will now be in a position to assess the compensation due.
Yes, my investigation is indeed concluded. I can now provide a final figure for the
No
amount
nareszcie.
payable.
Wonderful. Well then, please, could you do the honors, Miss Yanfei?
Of course. According to the stipulations of the contract,
No.
Mr. Crossell, you must pay
Ha.
Mr. Chow 10 times the original transaction
Damn.
price in Mora.
Sure. Wait, what? Me pay her? Surely there's been some kind of
To
mistake.
jak to się
Miss
mówi? Karma
Yanfei.
wraca, nie?
Not at all. According to my investigations and the material evidence that we've gathered, the substance claimed to be Smaragdus jadeite that was inlaid within the Smaragdus jadeite twin phoenix pins that you rented out to Mr. Chow was, in fact, Smaragdus nephrite. Now, the contract states very clearly that 10 times the price shall be paid should the article not be genuine. Accordingly, you are liable for this sum, which is payable to Mr. Chow in Mora.
No i
Material
pozamiatane.
evidence? What material evidence? Why, Miss Yanfei, you cannot frame me like this. I spent a huge sum to obtain that Smaragdus jadeite, and yet you claim that the ore inlaid on the hairpins is somehow fake? I demand to see your evidence.
Indeed. Only a testimony from an expert witness involved in the processing of the ore can serve as an authoritative assessment of whether it is genuine. Traveler, please produce the evidence in
O
question.
kurczę. O Jezu, zaraz najpierw chyba było o Jade Mystery?
This is a processing record from the Jade Mystery, along with stone samples and an affidavit signed by the business owner.
To chyba i tak jest w kolejności, więc nie mam co tu się średnio zastanawiać. Ale ładne kamienie czerwone. I jak to klikać?
How does this prove anything? In any case, Smaragdus nephrite is the outer layer of Smaragdus jadeite. So I had him cut away the nephrite, he returned the valuable jadeite core to me, and some nephrite samples remain in the store. What am I missing exactly?
That's an unsubstantiated belief.
Well, your claim that my ore is fake is just as unsubstantiated. And we are here to talk about evidence, aren't we?
Ugh. Looks like our first piece of evidence didn't convince him at all. Seems like he came prepared.
Aha.
What should we do next?
Dobra, to ja ci zaraz tu walnę
Something legally
tego.
binding?
Walnę ci tu zaraz tekst od Bajżu i się
Show him,
skończy.
traveler. Oh, come on. I meant the backup copy
Ah.
of the document from the Ministry
Ah.
of Civil Affairs. The one
Czyli faktycznie muszę to robić w
This document
kolejności.
proves that my hairpins are the real deal, doesn't it? This is the ministry's seal, after all. It shows that the ore inlaid on the pins is indeed Smaragdus jadeite.
Our second piece of evidence didn't work either. And this guy's getting more belligerent by the second.
You know, you could be right. Perhaps the hairpins are the real deal after all.
Of course I'm right.
Jasne,
All the
jasne.
evidence shown supports my story.
Well, hang on a moment now, because I do recall one.
No ona naprawdę ma takie
fact that we
przyćpane
haven't
oczy.
revealed yet.
Takie puste
Traveler,
strasznie.
would you do the honors?
Czy ona chyba w ogóle nawet nie ma tego... O Jezu, nie pamiętam jak to się nazywało. Ta biała kropka w środku.
What's this?
Smaragdus jadeite springs forth from stone marrow within the mountains and will bring disaster to
A
any
nie,
mere
jednak
mortals who
ma.
touch it.
Ale tak czy siak jej oczy wyglądają takie strasznie puste.
Sustained contact with Smaragdus jadeite over a
sumie Kokowi
prolonged
też tak
period
ma.
will, in less serious cases, cause a mild malady, while in serious cases, the patient may suffer a dramatic change of personality and fall seriously ill. Mr. Crossell, were you aware of these peculiar properties of Smaragdus jadeite?
I had no idea.
No idea, you say? I'd guessed as much. But for you to have rented out such a dangerous
Ta
item,
rozprawa kojarzy mi się bardzo z grą po części Ace Attorney, chociaż z drugiej strony chyba bardziej Fontaine by do tego pasowało.
However, I'm sure that the ministry will be relatively lenient considering that, as you say, you were ignorant of the danger you posed. Don't worry, Mr. Crossell. I will make sure that all the evidence presented here will be handed over to the ministry. I trust that you'll give them your full cooperation in their investigations.
What? Wait!
Oh, so you knew?
Czuję, że ona go nieźle
Dear Mr.
pozamiata.
Crossell. But if you knew of Smaragdus jadeite's dangerous properties beforehand,
Huh? No, The hairpins aren't actually...
aren't actually inlaid with genuine Smaragdus jadeite? Is that what you were about to say? You do understand, Mr. Crossell, that this means that you will have to pay Ms. Chow 10 times the original price
kasę.
in Mora? Mr. Crossell, your answer, please. My client and I are waiting.
Chyba, że chłop zaraz wrzuci nam jakąś smutną historię, że nie wiem, ma żonę i dzieci na utrzymaniu.
Intimidating right now. It's like
Again, that's a
she's
legal
cursing.
consultancy for you.
I admit it. I confess. The ore I had inlaid on those hairpins was Smaragdus nephrite. But I'm a victim in all of this too. I invested a great deal of time and money into acquiring that small amount of Smaragdus jadeite, in the hopes of turning it into a piece of jewelry that would fetch a fine price. But after receiving it and carrying it around for a few days, I started to feel extreme discomfort. I couldn't sleep a wink or eat a single bite. I was in a constant state
Jak to
of
się mówi,
agitation.
nieznajomość prawa szkodzi.
I went to Boo Boo Pharmacy to get myself checked out, only to discover that this sort of stone cannot be worn as jewelry. But how could I let all that money go to waste? That's why I had another pair of hairpins made from Smaragdus nephrite, which is almost indistinguishable from Smaragdus jadeite. I kept the real Smaragdus jadeite in a specially made box. I daren't touch it again. I was worried that someone would see through it, which is why I only dared to rent them out, not sell them. And then to top it all off, Chichao lost the hairpins after
why
I
did you
rented
charge-
them out to her.
Pominaj imię, such an exorbitant rental price.
Exactly. If they weren't the real deal, why'd you make her pay so much?
I didn't want to either, but when I purchased that Smaragdus jadeite, some of my business partners found out. I knew they'd be watching closely to see how much I could make off it. If word got out that I sold a pair of fake hairpins, then my days in this line of business would be over.
All right, let's cut the appeals phase right there. I failed to see what bearing any of this has on your transaction with my client. According to the contract, you must pay Mr. Chow 10 times the original price in Mora.
No
and
i
that is
dobrze.
final.
10 times?
Crossell looks like he could faint
O
in a
matko,
second.
ależ ty przeżywasz.
As for me, according to my contract with Mr. Chow, 20% of that sum will go to me.
20%? That's as much as I spent on that Smaragdus jadeite.
There's no need. It's fine. You don't have to pay me that much, Mora.
Co jest?
Even if the Smaragdus jadeite on those hairpins was fake, I still bear responsibility for losing them. Legally or not, I think I owe some
Dlaczego?
compensation for that.
Ms. Jichao.
Nie wiem, niektóre te postacie zachowują się tak
However, Mr.
irracjonalnie, że ja nie jestem w stanie już
Crossell,
tego
since you have no
zrozumieć.
use for that chunk of Smaragdus jadeite, why don't you give it to me instead? I'll consider us even.
What? But all right then. This cursed rock's brought me enough grief as it is.
Miss Yunfei, I'll turn the Smaragdus jadeite over to you. I trust that it will suffice as remuneration?
Well, that's not quite how the rules say this should go. But
Okej.
whatever, it'll do.
Thanks so much for your help this time, Miss Yanfei. When you have the time, I'll be sure to visit and express my
Wciąż nie
thanks
rozumiem
more
twojej decyzji, ale niech ci
Oh, come
będzie.
on. No need to stand on ceremony. Now, if I may confirm this again, Mr. Chow, have you and Mr.
Ewidentnie.
Crossell come to an understanding?
Well, yes, I believe we have.
Well then, that's good. Mr. Crossell, it seems that my client has no further claims against you.
Is that so?
Ja wiem. Ja bym jednak chciał, żeby on trochę mu się dostał pod dupie, nie?
Actually, Mr. Crossell, I'd like to talk
Za
business for a
szczęśliwe jest to
second, if I may.
zakończenie.
I could see from the hairpins you produce that you're very skilled in jewelry design. My family, on the other hand, works in the ore business, and we have a fair stock of fine ores. If we could join forces, your jewelry designs and our choice ores, I think we could do some fine business between us.
Strasznie zbyt wesołe zakończenie jak dla mnie. Ja lubię jakieś dramaty, nie? Jak zawsze zresztą. Co, wracamy teraz do Madame P?
Well, that's that. And we've got the Smaragdus Jadeite that Granny wants too.
Yeah, though there were some twists and turns along the way. Czy ja wiem?
Exactly. Usually when someone tells us they've lost something, we end up searching all over the place for
No tak to wygląda w urzędach, nie? Że tak powiem.
problem with just a big stack of documents. Even though the solution didn't involve actually finding the hairpins.
The right solution depends on your perspective on the problem. The objective of my client, Mr. Chow, was to reduce her liability to pay compensation. So, rather than looking high and low for some hairpins, proving that the rented item was nowhere near worth what the vendor had claimed it to
Can't
be
say I've
was the
ever
more
met an
efficient
adeptus like you
solution.
before.
An adeptus. Speaking of,
Jak najbardziej.
you took part in that battle, didn't you? In which case,
O?
you would have heard what Granny said. Liyue Harbor is now a city ruled by humans. The title of adeptus means precious little to me compared to my job as a legal advisor. In any case, don't you think that the Liyue Harbor of today needs legal consultancy far
Ja
more than
wiem.
it needs adeptal powers?
Paimon can think of someone who would definitely
I think there is
disagree
more
with
than just
you.
reason involved here, Paimon.
Well, since we got what we came for, it's time to pay Granny a visit. I bet she's been on
O,
tenterhooks
i w sumie
for a
szybko mi
while
poszło,
now.
to nawet nie mam nawet jeszcze godziny surowego materiału nawet. Ale ładne. Takie zielone, nie wiem, ja po prostu uwielbiam zielone kamienie szlachetne. Zwłaszcza oszlifowane są bardzo śliczne. Aczkolwiek jednak w moim sercu leżą wszystkie kamienie, które są nieoszlifowane, na przykład cudowne cytryny, czy właśnie ametysty. Boże, uwielbiam cytryny, chociaż sam nie przypadam za kolorem żółtym. A ametysty? Nie wiem, ja po prostu, każdy kto mnie zna, uważa, że ja mam jakąś obsesję na punkcie tych ametystów i no w sumie mają rację, nie ukrywam. Bo ja mam chyba, Jezus, 4 ametysty, ale planuję kupić sobie kiedyś jeszcze więcej, jak faktycznie znajdę jakieś ładne kamienie, albo po prostu gdzieś w moim mieście będzie... o Boże, jak to się nazywa? To nie była wystawa kamieni, ale bardziej takie... Znaczy to była trochę taka wystawa, ale we were thanks to Yanfei. Nie wiem. Stoisko z kamieniami, bo kiedyś coś takiego się generalnie odbywało w moim mieście parę razy, więc...
If we're all set, Granny,
To wiem, może
I'll
kiedyś
get
sobie
going
kupię
now.
więcej
Got a ton of
ametystów.
clients waiting for me back at the office.
Oh, you. All right then. Go see to your business. Granny
Dobra.
should be able to handle the rest.
I'm off then. Bye. Oh yes, traveler. Make sure you don't lose the
Spoko.
business card I gave you. I've been looking into the laws of other nations as well. If you should ever
Jak
get
trafiliśmy
in
w
trouble with the law,
Fontaine do tego
come find me
więzienia,
directly.
powinniśmy zadzwonić, napisać do Yanfei.
Come now, child. Are you leaving or are you not? If you have no wish to leave, perhaps you'd like to help me clean my teapot. Hmm?
I'm leaving.
Ha,
I'm leaving.
oczywiście. Nikt nie chce się użerać z pająkami.
That child. Goodness knows where she learned to be so rambunctious. Her father was hardly so riotous or fond of talking nonsense back in the day when he
A
stood
truly
beside
unique
Rex
adeptus.
Lapis. Indeed she is. Liyue has changed, and the Adepti must also learn to change. Yanfei might be overly garrulous, but she is also the most intimately acquainted with the city among us all. Liyue is not the same place I once knew.
Granny.
All right then. Let us speak of this no more. Back on topic. I believe that I still owe you a little gift.
Oh, Paimon's so excited! How is it made?
And how long does it take? Myślę, że to akurat kwestia paru minut.
It is but a
Albo
single
sekund nawet.
teapot. It shan't take long at all. Just wait here for a moment. There we go. This serenity pot is
Very
all
nice.
yours now. Hold it firmly. If you were to drop it, oh goodness, who knows what might happen. Take these blueprints with you as well. You'll need them if you wish to make your teapot a little more
Thanks,
lively
Granny.
Wait
inside.
a minute, Granny. How exactly are we supposed to use
Nauczymy
this
się
teapot?
wszystkiego.
Oh, you needn't worry about that. I've already arranged for a
O, ja chyba wiem
certain
kto.
little helper to
Pitoszek.
awaken within this teapot. She will explain
Ten Pitoszek to jest
everything you need
ona?
to know
Ja zawsze myślałam, że to jest on. Dobrze, nareszcie. Czyli z typotem odblokowały mi się również też ryby. Bardzo dobrze. Bardzo dobrze, bardzo ładnie. Aha. Jednak nie zrobię ryb od razu, bo mi Densleaf teraz, quest z Densleafem mi wadzi bardzo. Jest bardzo ładny, chociaż ja jednak uważam, że mój faworyt to jest Inazuma, Sumeru i Fontaine. Fontaine jest bardzo ładny, w ogóle ten cały budynek i to wszystko. Go take a borrow to live in for now, I guess.
Hey, there's a perfect
Ale
big house
wielki.
right over there. Why should Paimon have to live in a hole in the ground? Still, why is it so empty here apart from that
No cóż.
house? Oh,
Będę musiał coś tu ładnego pobudować. Chociaż nie wiem, bo nie wszystkie, bo ja nawet nie mam tipotów pokończonych na moim main koncie, co dopiero mówię tutaj, nie?
more speed. Well,
Zawsze myślałem, że Tabi to jest on.
we have a visitor. Oh. It's Tubby. From a distance, Paimon
Huge
thought it was
finch.
just a huge finch. So you're the little helper Madam Ping mentioned?
Madam Ping? Oh, you must mean Ping. Yes, she did summon me here. She told me much
Jej głos jest
about
strasznie
you.
spokojny.
You know, back when we met in the
O!
Mondstadt Tavern, I
Jak
had
to
a
Monster
feeling
Tower?
that we
Co?
would meet again.
Kiedy?
It seems I was right, but it's still a nice
Nie
surprise to
pamiętam.
meet you here. You may leave all matters regarding the
No
upkeep
tak.
of this realm to me. Your journey may be far from over, but at least this
Uwielbiam po
way
prostu,
you
jak
will
w
not
każdej
want
grze są
for a
jakieś takie rzeczy,
comfortable
gdzie można,
place
nie
to
wiem, coś
sleep
budować,
each night.
dekorować. So what's a teapot spirit exactly? Tak samo jak w Wiedźminie, jak z dodatkiem krew i wino dochodzi, że można mieć swoją własną piwniarnię i po prostu tak ładnie udekorować to Corvo Bianco. O Jezu, tęsknię strasznie za tą grą, ale aktualnie nie mam ani miejsca na dysku, ani również czasu, żeby na nowo zagłębić się w trójkę, a ja naprawdę w trójkę potrafiłem grać od rana do nocy, zwłaszcza wakacje. Wakacje 2.22 przesiedziałem niemalże cały czas grając w Wiedźmina trójkę. Ja potrafiłem wstać rano, pierwsze co to odpalić Wiedźmina i po prostu spędzić tam do aż samego wieczora, kompletnie zapominając na przykład o Genshinie albo robiąc gdzieś go komiszę o jakiejś 23, bo mi się wtedy przypomniało, że Genshinem też trzeba się zająć, nie?
Blueprint?
Ale tak Wiedźmin niesamowicie wciągnął, Jezu.
Granny handed us some when she gave us the teapot, didn't she?
I jak na razie po raz kolejny chyba zacznę za niedługo ogrywać Wiedźmina 2, ewentualnie 1, chociaż wiadomo.
Yes,
Jednak,
these
no
are
ja chyba jestem
the
bardziej
I'm
większym
talking
fanem
about.
2, 3, aniżeli stricte 1.
Just commit the image of the objects to memory.
Nie wiem, Wiedźmin 2 to jest w sumie moja taka komfort gra.
Then simply release the thought from your mind and the object in the blueprint shall appear within this teapot.
Wow! Is that all it takes? Then we could build a whole city inside, couldn't
Lubię generalnie budowanie, dekorowanie czegoś, ale na przykład w Simsach kompletnie nie mam żadnego gustu takiego, co by tu gdzieś położyć, czy udekorować, czy... Większość dosłownie moje pokoje są po prostu puste, albo mają tylko biurko, łóżko, krzesło i komputer i tyle w sumie. Bo ja kompletnie nie mam zmysłu do jakiegoś dekorowania. Tak samo w Genshinie, ja dosłownie w Genshinie mniej więcej patrzę, szukam generalnie inspiracji wszędzie. Patrzę, jak niektórzy może zrobili swoje tipoty, albo patrzę na jakieś faktycznie prawdziwe budynki i próbuję jakoś coś na wzór tego zrobić.
What's more, I have never seen that
how very
Adeptus
strange.
again since.
Więc nie wiem, może jak kiedyś skończę każdy z moich hipopów, bo planuję to kiedyś zrobić, bo ja bym to mógł ogarnąć szybko, ale mi się generalnie nie chce, jak na razie pracuję nad Sumeru, potem chyba przejdę do Inazumy, a Fontaine poczekam, aż po prostu cały Fontaine chyba się po prostu skończy, żeby mieć równie dobrze te wszystkie meble i tak dalej. Nareszcie mogę dokończyć questy z łowieniem ryb, gdyż w końcu zwolniło mi się miejsce, kiedy zrobiłem koniec z Dainsleafem. Jest, nareszcie mogę łowić ryby. Szkoda, że nie mogę tych ryb na przykład sprzedawać. To było fajne. Dobrze, dzięki rybom w końcu mogę przez to, że nawet teraz pójść i się postarać po trochę ryb z Sumeru, może z Fontaine. I jak jeszcze pójdę do Inazumy, to przy okazji zdobędę catch dla Shelling. Dziękuję wam bardzo serdecznie za oglądanie, trzymajcie się i do kolejnego odcinka. Cześć!